for over a year, the concept of it, what Kryon told me to do with it. He said, Lee, this is a temple. For you, all of you, it's your temple for tonight. We're always working with those who are suffering. You have to understand that, even by the tone of everything in the consciousness that we set up. This is what this time is all about. To help you see this and to perhaps satisfy some of you who wish we do more with it, Monica will start the Circle of 12 meditations a little differently this month with some specific intents, perhaps, that would target more of those who are suffering right now for all the reasons all over the globe. And there's so much of it. We know that. There's so much of it. When you enter a temple and you meditate, you don't have to itemize things. You don't have to list those in trouble. You don't need a prayer list or a meditation list. When you pray, when you enter a temple, Spirit knows it. I mean, you have to give credit to what God knows. Spirit understands and knows what's happening in this planet. So all the love and the compassion and the prayer always goes to those who need it most. So as long as you truly understand what we're talking about here, and you understand that this is a temple that we are asking you to go to, you'll understand now why we don't itemize these things, we don't talk about them, and especially in the Q&A. Leave your duality outside when you tune in to this program, and understand that this is a temple of your consciousness, your magnificence, of your heart, of your compassion. That's what we do here.
I couldn't have said it any better myself, Lee. Such a beautiful answer. And thank you for reminding me of the time we spent with that beautiful Swami in the temple. And one of the things I loved, as well as saying the monsters at the entrance and gargoyles represent leaving your duality behind, he also said, I don't know if you remember, he said, leave your crazy thoughts outside. Yeah. And then what he said was, you can pick them up when you come back out of the temple.
That's right. I didn't mention that.
Yeah. So that was just such a beautiful way and an example of coming into this space that we generate together, because we are in this space together, our community, and those of you watching this now and in the future now. So that is our invitation to you, to leave the crazy thoughts behind, and you can pick them up when you finish watching our program.
I think that was mentioned facetiously by him as well. We don't say, pick up all your troubles when you leave the Circle of 12. But it's so interesting. When he said it, he smiled. He said, come in here when you leave. You can pick them up and leave with them if you want.
Yeah, so beautiful answer. And we're going to another question. This is from Maria. Maria is in Greece. She is saying, in my country, the old energy is very aggressive. It is like living in a dystopian civilization. During the so-called COVID pandemic, the draconian and completely absurd rules were established, and they are dividing people according to these rules. I think, Maria, it's not just in your country, Greece. So then Maria says, when I'm participating in the Circle of 12, I feel no worry at all. But later during the day, especially when I hear about new regulations, it is tearing me apart. I am failing to see the progress Kryon is talking about. All I see is the old energy that causes me almost nausea. So her question, how can we tolerate the division, especially when there's threats and forcing against our will? Very deep question, Lee, from Maria, and I think she's not alone. There's many people possibly feeling the same.
Not only are there many people feeling the same, but this particular question that Maria has asked has been asked many times. And as one of those of you pouring through the questions, we're just selecting which one of those who are asking this question that we would put to you now. And this is not the first time we've answered this question. So, Maria, I would like to tell you I've answered this already about actually 3 times now in the series of Circle of 12, because it's happening and has been happening for months and months. And there's different attributes within the question. There's actually two parts here. So let me address it. First of all, if you want to go back and you want to check some, I think it was even last month we addressed this even before. The Circle of 12 is not an event. It's not just a meditation. The Circle of 12 is an invitation of a way of life. Listening to your question, it's beautiful that you don't feel the issues in the Circle of 12. But when you leave, you pick up all the duality and you're back in it. If you listen to the last question, you see what you are doing. And one of the reasons why is that you don't understand or perhaps are ready to own the Circle of 12 as a way of life. The invitation is to take this that you experience in the Circle of 12 with you when you leave. So it becomes part of the way you solve this very issue that you've asked about. Let it become your temple where nothing can enter unless you give permission for it. Now, here's the second part of it. Don't measure what Kryon has spoken about as changing the earth, in an immediate month-to-month way. Kryon has talked about what's in the future. Measure it instead, right now, by what's happening in your life and what you can do about it. That's the measure. This whole idea, and listen, this is for everyone. There have been a lot of changes of consciousness on this planet, and we've channeled about it. We've told you about it in the last 2 decades it's happening. We've given you itemizations of the changes, and they're vast. But it's taken so far since 2012. That's a lot of years even to begin it. Real change on this planet, according to Kryon. You may not actually see and measure this until 2030. Now, that isn't a mysterious number. That's the beginning, according to Kryon, or the end of the precession of equinox time frame and the beginning of when you're going to see something actually take place on the planet that you can look around and see on the news. So how do we measure? You measure it by what's happening internally with you. You're not going to see massive changes of consciousness quickly. So please don't be frustrated if you don't see it from month to month. Let the changes instead, I'll say it again, be in your life. Take the Circle of 12 attributes with you. Make it a temple of your life and learn to have peace with these things in your health. They won't make you nauseous. They should never make you nauseous. Turn off the news if you have to. And you might say, well, how am I going to get it? And I'll say, if you're watching on a device, you know what the internet is, you're watching on that, go to the internet and read it somewhere where you select it instead of having it given to you in an entertainment venue with announcing and music and all the other things that create fear and anger, anxiety, and perhaps even, in your case, nausea. The things are still happening, but it's how you are reacting to them which will change this planet.
Beautiful answer, Lee. And I think from that, what we would like to do now is move into a space that prepares us for receiving a channeled message from Kryon through Lee. And as we prepare for that space, I invite you to close your eyes and focus for a moment on breathing in and out and slowing that rhythm of breathing softly in and softly out. And there really is nothing to do to prepare for a channeled message for Kryon. Kryon is always with us. The entourage of a loving creator is always with us. When Lee channels the messages, there is no process or steps in preparation. There is simply the intent and stepping aside to allow Kryon to deliver the message. And this just comes with practice. The more you can practice that integration and that meld of the entourage that is around you, the easier it becomes. And so again, there is nothing to do. There is simply allowing the information to come in. And so we'll just sit now and receive the beautiful message from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of magnetic surface. I am here, dear ones, because of your magnificence. There is no other reason to have messages from the other side of the veil to a human being, unless there were things that we wanted you to know that perhaps that you do not understand yet, or perhaps you haven't realized. You haven't cognized. If you think about why is there channeling at all? I would say the reason for channeling is to have information and energy from a magnificent creator to the souls of those who are family. On this planet right now, there is so much that is hidden from you, and the first thing that is hidden is that you are part of this creation family, born magnificent, not born dirty. And we'll say this until my partner's last breath. Understand that perhaps what you have been told may not be the entire truth. I would like to start a series of 4 channelings. And they're going to be on a subject which we have touched on, that my partner has taught in conference, but that we would like to make as complete as we can within 4 sessions. And it has to do with one of those hidden things. It is something, perhaps, that is known by those who would normally watch a program such as this. This kind of a program would feature esoteric truths, core truths, perhaps, to them. To others, not truths at all, but odd things. But these odd things are beginning to open up and become a lot more obvious as truth to so many who never expected that kind of a thing in their life. Almost all of the guest speakers on these shows that you are watching now, almost all of them, will tell you about a turning point in their life where they went from what they were taught to what they discovered. And they will tell you that what they were taught and that bag that they were in called life is small and looks small today to them compared to a grander truth that opened them up into something far, far, far better. And the nice part of this is that they did not have to throw away what they had learned. It just gets bigger and better and enhanced. Perhaps you learned already about a loving God, a creator, who actually may know you. The rest of the story enhances that to something you didn't expect. If you are part of that source, there is the ability to use tools you didn't know about. The reason for this program that exists, we're going to talk about one of them now. The entire reason this program exists is for you to understand there is so much more that belongs to you that you can do yourself, that'll give you peace over these times, these troubling times, give you healing in the middle of a troubling time, that'll take away fear. It'll put you in a place where you will even live longer. Dear ones, that is a truth. And that's not a truth you were told when you were born. That is a truth you learn. And you learn it with an awakening perhaps at the time of your choice. I want to talk about the innate. 4 amazing innate attributes. 4 amazing innate attributes. And the first thing we're going to discuss is, what is it? What is it, really? What? Even that is confusing to so many. We're going to do another program on where is it? That's the most confusing of all. So many questions about the innate. Where is it? What is it? The third attribute and the third week, we'll talk about how to use it. What's the best way to capture the power of your own innate? And then the fourth one, hidden attributes about the innate. What else is there, perhaps that we have not talked about?
Of different belief systems.
Yes.
How do I hold the space of love so I'm not just, like you said earlier, in meditation, one with spirit, but how do I connect with spirit when spirit is dressed up as a person, vehemently anchored in a different viewpoint?
Right.
And I've just taken the idea of every kind of sticky situation where people will say, hey, this teaching makes sense, but what about this circumstance? And I wanted to write a book, especially at this time in history. I wanted to address difficult. And I talk about so much. I share a lot of personal stories from my life that people have never heard. I talk in a whole chapter about my experience of systemic racism and the realizations I had. And for me, this is the most, I love every book I've ever written, channeled. This book for me is it.
This book for me is it. Can I say it?
I think I have a prediction it's going to be a bestseller because all the cells of my body are tingling with the hunger for the information that the book contains.
How many times have we been asked, what do I do about my family?
Yeah.
And I can't get away from it, and it drives me crazy, and I'm trying to hold a love connection. This is a book we need, and we need
Thank
it.
you.
So when do you think it might happen?
Well, I know it's coming out in the spring of next year. It's being published through Sounds True. I'm actually doing my last week of edits this week, and it's going to be published in the spring of next year. And, with the stories I tell, because everything I've practiced on how to communicate, I've practiced with my family, at family functions, for better or for worse. Aww. And I've really learned some very specific things that I think that are very pivotal and powerful. And the book itself, I don't know. Lee, I know, as you know, when you're sitting there and you have a feeling like you are capturing lightning in a bottle, like when I channel and I feel that holy you-know-what coming through me, I'm channeling, and then I kept pressing save like every 3 seconds because I'm so afraid it's going to delete. And then I send myself a copy because I'm just so freaked. Like, this is so amazing. You know what I mean? I'm just like, oh my God. But for me, this is, when I write from the perspective of, if this is the last thing I write, this is what I want to leave behind as my contribution to the world.
I agree.
And I feel like with this book, my other book's incredible, but for me, it felt like it really prepared me for what I've put into this book. And I am just like, wow.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a unique book. It's a book for its time. There would be those who say, why do I have to wait for so long? And yet I believe that the timing is going to be perfect.
Yeah,
as we're going to see it unfold. This has been absolutely delightful, Matt. And as I say, and I told you in our private time, I know you're a busy guy. And for us to spend this little time with you and all of those who are watching is such a privilege for us, and very timely. And so thank you, sir.
Thank you. It's an honor. I've admired your work for many years. I've wanted to meet you somehow. And so for me, this has actually been a very blessed experience. And I just look forward to more time of connecting. And any way we can all come together for the benefit of our world would truly touch my heart.
Beautiful. Thank you.
So delicious, so heart-opening. I know everyone who is tuning into this is also having an explosion of their cells and an opening of their heart.
Yeah.
So please go and check out mattkahn.org if you haven't already. And we are going to take a 10-minute break and then be back for the Circle of 12.
Welcome back, everyone. Monica and I were just really talking among ourselves and enjoying this time we had with Matt. And man, for our time,
so delightful.
just exuding love. I understand by watching him why he has so many followers. People have really seen the purity there. It's a wonderful thing to see.
Really, absolutely. Just so beautiful. So please go and visit his website and check out those YouTube videos. I'm sure you're going to enjoy them. Earlier, we talked about the questions and how there's so many people in trouble. And Lee mentioned that for this month at least, we wanted to focus on sending love and compassion to those who are in trouble. So in this next section, before we go to the Circle of 12, I invite you to join me in that exact intention. For us, as old souls, as light workers, joining together to send love and compassion to everyone on the planet, especially those who in these moments are faced with maybe fears, anxieties, worries, concerns, and all of those that are going through this. What we want to do is generate an energetic hug of love that we are going to send collectively to every person on this beautiful planet going through extraordinary times of shift and change. And you may even wish to place your hands on your heart where we are generating this connection, this emotion, this feeling, this transformance of energy, of love. So just spend a few more moments feeling, sensing, imagining that great big hug of love we are sending to everyone. You may even feel or sense a hug being sent to you, embracing you. For as we do to ourselves, we do to others. And you may feel that wave of love coming back to you. And if you're feeling that wave of love, let us send that out again, but amplified. So we are now sending an amplification of that original hug of love. And just spend a few more moments now to quietly integrate that wave of love. And you may gently relax your hands and just be aware that that wave of love will continue even beyond this time together. And even after the Circle of 12, this wave of love continues. And so we'll just now quietly sit and receive the message from Kryon for tonight's Circle of 12.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon. Come a little closer. The Circle of 12, the very name, should elicit in you a feeling, perhaps even a reality. Those who have experienced this over and over know of what I speak. The answer to one of the questions, my partner said the circle of 12 represents a way of life. It is not a meditation. The circle of 12 is more than a soul experience. It's an example. How close can you be to the Creator of all things, which you call God or Spirit? Do you have permission to be so close that you have the same love essence as the Creator, or all the prophets, or the highest masters? There would be those on this planet who would say no. There are those on this planet who would profess to have the absolute truth and the love of God, and then to tell you that you are not worthy. Dear ones, you are worthy. If there is one message I would have, that the love of God is everything, that love is everything. The word itself cannot even begin to describe what it is. It's peace, it's healing, it's longer life for you on this planet. It is the essence, the thickness of all that is in the light of the entire universe. It is more than you can ever describe with that one word. And to think that there are those who would keep you from it, thinking you're not good enough for it, they don't have the full story. Perhaps they haven't felt it yet. But the invitation is for you to always feel it. Do you think that the Creator would have put you here and then judged you on what you did so that you couldn't get close? Would you do that to your children? Would you judge something that they did when they were very, very young and say, well, I'm sorry, you can never see my face again? That is exactly what some are telling you right now. It is so much grander than any belief system on this planet that limits God to the rules that they have established. There's only one essence, and it is love. And in that, there are answers to almost every issue from anyone watching this right now. Answers and solutions to almost any question that's being asked. It's so fascinating to see how human beings get their most creative, beautiful, correct, accurate solutions. And it's normally when they're not concentrating on them. It's renowned. You ask inventors and artists and composers, and they'll say, I do my best work when I'm not thinking about my work. When I disengage, or perhaps I have an aha experience in the twilight before I go to sleep, or even during a dream. But when I start to use my intellect and then concentrate, what shall I do? How shall I do it? Is it enough? Is it not enough? Is it right? Is it wrong? Then nothing happens. Have you thought about that? Love is so beautiful, pervasive, if you want it to be, in all of your life, that truly there's a time when you can sit and not even concentrate on your issues. And by not concentrating on them, you'll get the answers, and some will flow in automatically. There are some guests who appeared on this very show who will tell you that they were not thinking about something, they had a spontaneous remission. It's almost they had to clear the way and let the Creator in and let love do its work. What a profound idea. The circle of 12 is a model. It's a model for getting out of the way. There is nothing wrong with the intellectual human being, dear ones, as long as that intellectual does not then rule the spiritual. For an intellectual is a high thinker. There's a place, a balance for everything. But when it comes to some multi-dimensional ideas of the universe, the galaxy, your soul, and your life, the intellect cannot begin to make sense of it. So you cannot use, for instance, a very limited computing device to compute love. It's not computable. And yet there are those constantly, even those listening now, would say, well, I would like to figure out what he's talking about. So if you're one of those who wants to figure out what I'm talking about, I will say to you, you will never figure out what I'm talking about. It's not figure-outable. Until you stop and assess that which is around you in a beautiful way and stop figuring it out, that is when you may have your aha experience. Our guest today, Matt, he had one. One of the things he will tell you is after the white angel appeared to him, even at 8 years old, he figured it out for years. Into that, which is adulthood, figuring it out for years.